Hey guys, I didn't know whether you've heard, but it's Organic September. The British Soil Association are doing, it's basically an awareness campaign for growing organic for farmers and also eating organic. So I thought it's probably a good time to talk about what organic farming is and what the benefits are of it. So organic farming is basically growing food and crops and animals in the way, in all the natural ways, basically with as little chemicals as possible, and in the ways that it would normally get done. Say, instead of using chemicals as fertiliser, you'd use like manure, and by doing that, you're obviously keeping the vitamins and the minerals in the soil. Because the problem with GMO farming and non-organic farming is all the chemicals that go into the land as fertilisers. They're petrochemical based, and I've just done the phone. They're petrochemical based, and they actually strip the biome, which is all the bacteria in the soil, and that bacteria and funguses and stuff, that's what you get all your nutrients and the diversity and the vitamins in the soil. So by growing it organically in the traditional ways, you actually get a lot more nutrients in all the food that you grow, and also healthier animals. When it comes to organic practices with animals, it's basically they don't have routine antibiotics. So there, once again, it goes back to the microbes, the bacterias, and they've got stronger immune systems. They're generally, for organic farming, the healthiest thing you can do, say for a cow, is keep it out on the grass. That's obviously where a cow's very happy, in a pasture, in grass, and it gets all the nutrients from the grass. It gets the sun on its skin all the time, and it doesn't need to have the antibiotics because it's having a natural diet. And that's, once again, people don't like animals being raised on land, but it's the factory farming that's really winding people up, and that's not organic farming. It's more animals getting fed grains, which are also not grains and stuff haven't been grown with the natural methods. They're obviously all the fertilisers and more chemicals, and that's just that would make a non-organic meat is very unhealthy, and I definitely would not put that in my mouth. I wouldn't even think about it. But anyway, we won't talk about meat. But so it's well worth checking out the organic standards and just organic food in general, because it has less chemicals in and more nutrients in. It's a big part of making sure that you're just healthy in general. You've got to put as much nutrients in your body as possible, and as much chemical-free foods as possible, because a lot of these chemicals haven't been around for very long. They've only been introduced in the last 30 years or even less, so we don't actually know the long-term effects on our bodies of these chemicals. And because when something isn't labelled organic, like say a strawberry, for example, a strawberry, you're not just getting a strawberry when you buy it from the supermarket. If you actually, on the label, it just says strawberry, but actually you've got pesticides, insecticides on there to keep the insects off. It's been grown with a lot of fertilisers to make it nice and juicy. Because I don't know if you guys have ever tried growing tomatoes or strawberries or anything like that in your garden. Like strawberries in particular, by the time they get anywhere near looking like red strawberries, they've been eaten by insects and the birds. And the way to stop the insects and the birds eating them is they spray chemicals all over them, so they don't want to eat them anymore. And which is why it keeps the insects off them. But we cannot taste those chemicals, and we can't sense them chemicals, but they are actually on there. And they're not. I believe they're not very good for the body. Well, glyphosate is one example, which is not on strawberries, but it is on wheats and grains. And glyphosate's what farmers spray on their crops just before, like a week or so before they harvest it. And what that does, it dries out the crops. It goes into it, dries it out, kills it off basically, dries it out. So then when they come to harvest it, it has no moisture content in it, because when farmers come to sell the grain, it needs to be low moisture, obviously, so it doesn't have moulds and stuff like that in. And when it's low moisture, then they get more money for it. So yeah, the non-organic farming methods is to spray glyphosate on before you harvest grain, which is one of the reasons why grain is so hard to digest, and why people have gluten intolerance. I think with a lot of people, it's not so much gluten intolerance. Obviously celiac disease is different, but non-organic gluten is covered in glyphosate, and glyphosate is proven to damage the intestinal lining and make it permeable and give people leaky guts when your intestinal lining, instead of just letting nutrients through, instead of being tight, I've got one hand, so instead of, because I've got my phone in the other hand, instead of being tight junctions together, all the cells been together like that, when you get a leaky gut, it becomes leaking inflamed, so you get some gaps between the cells. So then stuff, instead of just nutrients passing through, and your cells just letting the nutrients and absorbed digested proteins and stuff through, they get gaps in between them, so then you can get undigested proteins through into your blood, and other waste and toxins that should be on the inside of your intestines actually pass through into your blood. And that's what leaky gut is. And yeah, glyphosate, non-organic stuff that has glyphosate on it and other chemicals can create leaky gut. So yeah, it's very important to eat organic as much as possible, and also support the by buying organic. Yes, it's a little bit more expensive, but that's because there isn't as many subsidies, and the farmers actually have to pay for the organic certification, and the standards are very high compared to normal farming, that it does cost a little bit extra. But by paying that little bit extra, you're actually supporting the farmers. And also a massive thing is in supporting the environment. Like, organic farms have 50% more pollinators on their land, which is like bees and stuff like that. So you're just supporting the whole biodiversity of the planet. Also, by using natural farming methods and agricultural methods like organic farming, like I said, you're keeping the biodiversity in the soil. You're not just having monocrops, which is just one crop, like different stuff live together, and that actually, it's been proven to create less greenhouse gases and actually take the carbon dioxide out of the air, because you've got more life there. And I don't know the ins and outs of it too much, but yeah, it basically does reverse the climate change. If everybody did organic, we wouldn't be worrying about, wouldn't have to worry about climate change. It's very important. Like, and also, this is probably the main thing: the fact that we only have, they say we only have 50 harvests left. That's not UFOs above my head, by the way. I live on an airfield. We've got some parachutes coming down. Yeah, hope you don't get too distracted with that. But yeah, they say that with our current farming methods, that we only have 50, or is it 60 harvests left, and that's not very long. Like, you think, if you have kids and their grandkids, what are they going to eat if the soil, because it's with the chemical methods that we're doing now with the fertilisers and stuff like that, it's just stripping all the nutrients out of the soil, that within 60 years it's not even going to be able to grow food on it. That's how important changing to organic is, and obviously paying a tiny bit more for food. Sometimes organic stuff's actually cheaper, and maybe 10 pence more. And it's just being aware of that, and hopefully this has been informative for you. Yeah, give me a message if you want to know any more, but I just thought I'd go over the basics, and I think it's great that it is Organic September. Have a great day. Enjoy your organic fruit and veggies.